All right, hello, and welcome to the wild card weekend of the Season 3 in the NAGA. Today we watch the Austin Stars taking on the Iowa Storm. And shockingly enough, Austin is not the home team. It's actually Iowa. And even more shocking enough, there's 3 Southwest teams in this playoff. So as you'll see here, we have Columbus at the 1 seed, Portland at the 2 seed. So those 2 teams will play next week. And of course, these games are all done beforehand without any knowledge of how the others go. So nobody knows what happened between San Antonio and Albuquerque. But what we will know today is what happens between the Iowa Storm and the Austin Stars. Of course, I do believe this is the first time, at least on one side of the playoffs, that every team has been over .500. Obviously, the Southwest racking up 3, 6, and 4 teams due to San Antonio's loss to Austin in Week 10, and Iowa coming in at 6 and 4, finishing their season a bit stronger than most anticipated. So, go ahead and take a look at the expert picks today, with Iowa at a 62% chance. Not exactly a good look for this Austin team. And we'll head on in. And for those of you who would have never guessed, we are in fact at an Austin away game and an Iowa home game. These 2 teams will be vying to fight seemingly their 2 poisons, that being Portland or Columbus. So we shall see. As Austin receives the ball in the first half, and Iowa in the second. So we'll go ahead and get these defensive and offensive charts ready. Of course, one little look at these 2 depth charts, and I suppose say what you will about the previous owner of the Iowa Storm. He's racked up some talent for the current owner of the Iowa Storm. As Travolta will be under center to start this with Flowers in the backfield. As Speakman is motioned in, Flowers will get a nice carry. And a first down, a gain of 12 yards. Iowa boasting one of the, I think the only, most talented defensive roster in the entire league. They've got 2 elite talents at defensive end. They've got an elite outside linebacker, middle linebacker, and a 3rd-string cornerback who is projected to be an elite player. It's quite a lot, as well as backed up by superstars, stars, and then only 2, scratch that, 3 players who are normal, and Ronnie Phipps, the defensive tackle, Sharif Abdullah, the middle linebacker, and the free safety, Sheldon Parker. Travolta back to pass, take it down. We have a loss of 6, 3rd and 14. That's Maddox, Keontae Maddox, their superstar defensive tackle. And it will definitely be a long day for this Austin offense. Travolta launching over. Incomplete. That was number 29. Apologies, that might have been 28. Yes, that is Patrick Young, strong safety. And as Austin punts, we'll go ahead and go over their depth chart. They have a little bit of talent. They're more better than most teams, as Parker takes it past the 25. They've got a bunch of stars. Their offensive line is, perhaps outside of Virginia Beach, the most stacked. Got 3-star linemen, the left tackle, center, right guard, and of course a left guard and right tackle, who are both normal, I'd say development, if you would. As Iowa, Bramhall Rogers being TFL'd -1. That is Nava for the Austin Stars. That's their defensive tackle, 2nd string. Not too well on the defensive tackle side for Austin. That is a side that the owner has stated he will be trying to target in the offseason via trades and or the draft. Should be interesting to see how this goes as Hull gets sacked, forced fumble, picked up by Ellis, and that'll be a strip sack touchdown recovery. What a playoff game start this is. That is Jordan Ellis, number 57, their outside linebacker. And Altamirano kicks the ball, and of course, it's good. Not exactly the start I think any of us saw coming. If anything were to happen on the defensive side, I think we were all going to be looking towards that Iowa defense, but in fact, Austin's linebackers are pulling through, trying to create something of a head start for their offense. That a major uphill battle for them. As Fowler is taken down past the 20. We'll go ahead and take a look at this QB comparison. Michael Travolta, 34, 12 years. Graham Hull, 30, 8 years. Both veterans. You can see both their yards are quite impressive, and we'll come back to that in a moment as the play gets ready to snap as they motion number 5 to the left. Rogers now rushing to the left. Pushed inside of a mosh pit. It's a gain of 5 yards. Let's head back on over to that QB comp if we can. 15 touchdowns apiece, though Hull does have 9 interceptions to Travolta's 4. And of course, both have over 2,200 passing yards. So Hull now back to pass. Man in his face, going to launch it anyways, and he is unable to come down with that. I believe that was number 39, Sean Fox, the fullback. Interesting to keep Rogers in the back to block, but I suppose you're trying to throw anything you can after that strip sack touchdown via the Austin defense. So Hull is now back to pass, launching it, unable to come down with it. That'll be a 3 and out. Darius Rogers was unable to bring that one in. Gotta love it when you see the backwards animation where they do that little spin move and you know they can't catch it, but the AI does it anyways. You gotta love it. Escobar with the punt. Vincent with the return. He will be taken down. Oh, wow. Wow. They'll call him way north of the 25. I thought he was just shy, perhaps hitting the 26, but no, they'll give him 3 extra yards. Go ahead and flip on over as now Travolta is now leading this Austin offense up 7 without even having to score once. It's Travolta back to pass. Throwing. There is a flag, however. That will be holding against the defense. It'll be 1st and 10. And I think that might be the only way Austin really can move anything down here. You've got so much talent on this Iowa defensive roster, and as far as Austin goes, they've got Terrence Carroll, and that's about it. As Flowers now gets the handoff, and he's taken down at the line. These 2 playoff teams, they're not exactly Super Bowl bound, I would say. I think both are good enough for a playoff win and maybe an upset, but as Flowers now gets the carry, pushing forward hard for an 11-yard gain. That's a 1st down. Randall Young now coming in. But I really don't foresee too much going on with these 2 teams. I think obviously the favorites is going to be Columbus, and then obviously Portland after that. I think anyone after that is going to be a surprise dark horse as Travolta is launching it over to the left, and Young, what a snatch. Right over number 8's head. That was Braylon Myers, their elite linebacker in coverage. Not exactly the scheme fit you want to be put into if you're a linebacker. But he made it happen. Travolta back to pass, 4-man rush. He's got all day, he's going to dump it off. I don't know what happened there, but whoever that was, they did not come up with the ball. We'll see in a moment as that was Flowers, I believe. Travolta under center. They're only 2 yards away, 3rd and 2. Just got to kind of move the ball with a run here. And they do, but Iowa foresaw that, and that's a loss of 4. 4th and 7. Randall Young now coming out, and that'll be a punt. And, of course, that's why Iowa was paying the big bucks to all these players in the defense. I mean, outside of the strip sack touchdown, I think for the most part, Iowa's doing what they're supposed to be doing. Don't let Austin pass the 50. Don't let Altamirano get a chance at a field goal, and your offense should be able to do something. And, I mean, at worst case, just let the defense kind of intercept or strip sack or force a fumble and get good yardage as Rogers pushing forward to gain 8. Of course, we head on over to look at this Austin defense. Sean Hicks, their 3rd-string middle linebacker, is their only elite talent on this roster. Their D-line, again, as stated before, not exactly the greatest of things, but of course, their linebacker core is what's going to hold them up in this game. It seems as Hull is back to pass. 4-man rush. He's going to launch it. That'll be incomplete. That was destined for Isaiah Green. So he isn't able to come down with that pass. That'll be now 3rd and 2. And this 3rd and 2, if you know anything about Iowa, this is a long 3rd and 2. This could be 3rd and 12 for most teams. He'll motion Green off to the right. Hull back to pass. Got a blitz coming, and that's intercepted by Sharp, number 27. That's a 2nd turnover for this Iowa offense. So now the Iowa defense now will come out, and Austin offense now will have a chance to at least score 3, barring a turnover. It's not exactly the development I foresaw at all, as Flowers evades the man, pushed forward, still going to be a loss of 1 after being tackled forward. Bit of an unlucky situation that was. We'll go ahead and see how this drive ends up. There's Travolta, Flowers in the backfield. He's going to motion Woodward off to the right. It's back to pass, but a free rusher. Oh my gosh, just absolutely obliterated by Sanders. Shamar Sanders, the elite defensive end. He's one of the better defensive ends in the entire league. And of course, his backup, or his buddy, as you would say, Desmond Terry, it's not that far off. And they're both elite talents in the league. Travolta now back to pass, going to just heave it all the way for Speakman. And Speakman was unable to come down with that, so they will now try for a field goal in this Iowa offense. Standing tall, standing proud. Michael Travolta 1 of 4 for 8 yards. But if they can put up 10, this might be insurmountable for Iowa. That's a 54-yard field goal. My goodness. Altamirano just absolutely automatic. And now you got to wonder for the Iowa team. You're now down 10-0 at a playoff game at home. Your offense has caused both of those scores, so a bit of an ugly situation they've got here as Fowler returns past the 25. They'll mark him down to the 26. I mean, I don't think a lot of things have gone the way for Iowa, and I think that'll be the way the playoffs are, right? You've got teams across the board who look like they should win, but I mean, every team's in the playoff for a reason, right? Austin beats San Antonio as Rogers now gets a hook left, sheds a man off, gain of 2. Austin defeated San Antonio, the reigning 2022, or 23 as it would be, champions. And they've worked their way through injuries. They worked their way through issues down the line. Gain of 4 yards. It'll be 3rd and 4 now for Iowa. And then you look at Iowa, and Iowa's basically overcome a lot of adversity on the offensive side. This defense being the great anchor that it has been all season, but I mean, when your offense turns it over twice, it's not going to be easy as Rogers now off to the left. He's pushing a gain of 3, but they're just shy. It'll be 4th and inches. This Austin defense is stepping it up. It seems the new ownership has quite the effect on this Austin team. Outside of the offense performing poorly, this defense is back to its championship status. Is Vincent now with the return. That'll be just ahead and just shy of the 25. Be down to the 24. And although I don't foresee Iowa letting up a 76-yard touchdown, I do foresee Austin somehow getting a field goal as Flowers throws the man off. 4 yards on that one. And a face mask, so now it'll be 1st and 10 at the Austin 42. I mean, this is just almost a recipe for disaster. You're now on your 2nd penalty. The entire game, there's only been 2, and you're causing both of them, and you've got 2 turnovers. It's not exactly the game that I think any Iowa fan wanted as Flowers now heads up. And Flowers looking as if he is the MVP of this game. Gain of 9 yards. I mean, nothing done through the passing game. It's almost giving shades of San Antonio at the moment. As Flowers now gets the handoff, has a clean lane on the right if he can keep going. Gain of 7. Speakman trying to get to that next level. And I do say the Southwest definitely has a run-first, hit-hard-nosed style mentality, and it's kind of showing up here against Iowa, and I don't think Iowa was exactly prepared for this. As Travolta now back to pass. Has all days, launched it to 85. Is unable to come down with that. And that, of course, is Alex Winslow, their 5th-string wide receiver. I don't know if exactly would trust my 5th string, but I suppose they know better than me. There's Travolta now. Motion the man to the left. That's Speakman. Young. Oh, my goodness. Just a full head of steam. A gain of 7. Absolutely blew past the blitz. Flowers now coming in. I mean, my goodness. That's 1 rush for 7 yards right off the bat and a 1 reception for 8 yards. I think this running back room is going to be the reason Austin has a chance. You don't like to see that. Sharif Abdullah with a possible pick 6, and instead he decides to swat it down. I understand you don't want them to get the down, but your team needs points. It's Altamirano now. Mr. Automatic. Ooh, he's going to thread it. Oh, doinked it in. 52-yard field goal. And Desmond Terry, the defensive end, second to Shamar Sanders, has a leg injury, but he's expected to return. Andre Knowles will now take over responsibility. He'll be number 99. That's a massive blow to this Iowa defense. I mean, you're dropping massively from one player to another. As Fowler, my goodness, he's just getting bullied around here. At the 18, not at the 20, so that'll be a loss of yardage. I mean, Austin's winning basically every single metric. The penalties, the turnovers, the hidden yardage, the offensive yardage, the defensive stoppage. As Rogers now has a wide lane to left. Oh my goodness, 23 yards. Reminds me of that Jay Ajayi Eagles run. The man got loose and he still got caught from behind. That's unfortunate. That, of course, is his largest run, and before that, he was 6 for 4 yards as Rogers now goes left. Gain of 4. It's quite the interesting situation when your running back is 6 for 4 outside of a 40-yard run. That is, I'm sorry, a 20-yard run. So he's still 6 for, let's say, 20. That's still not that good exactly. It's a gain of 5. Especially when your quarterback has given up now 2 turnovers. As Graham Hull is now basically fighting for his life, and that'll be the end of the first quarter. 13-0 is the score. The Austin Stars are leading a surprising match. Outside of an Iowa touchdown, this game could be all but out of hand. As Hull now facing a blitz, launching it left to Blackstone. There is a flag, and that'll be a touchdown, barring the flag. And of course, you can't get a touchdown with Iowa unless you cause pass interference. So that'll be called back. That's unfortunate. That is very unfortunate. That was a darn near 50-yard touchdown, and Rogers now, they will try to run it for the first down. It's a bit interesting. Gain of 3, it'll be 4th and 8, so as soon as they gain momentum, life just got sucked right out of the room, and Austin is back in the driver's seat with no issues whatsoever. And they say field goals don't win games, but I have to feel as though this team can't do much. Escobar, he's going to punt it, but that's too much heat on the punt. That'll go to the end zone. That'll be a touchback. At the 20, 1st and 10, 9 minutes and 12 seconds remaining. The Austin offense has only scored 2 field goals so far. Travolta motions the fullback, Jordan out to the left, back to pass, has all day, he's going to dump it off. Oh my goodness, Jordan. Taken down by number 55, Cameron Galbraith. And that man just, like an absolute heat-seeking missile, blew that play up. 2nd and 7. As Flowers now gets the handoff, lots of blocks on the edge. 56 now comes in for the cleanup, and that'll be Lamar Gray, their superstar outside linebacker, in on the stop. Terrence Flowers, 10 for 42 now, 3rd and 5. Flowers gets the handoff, and I mean, my goodness, he just has a whole semi-truck with length. And now Terry finally comes back. Randall Young coming in. So Andre Knowles now will be back to the bench. Desmond Terry now back in play. Travolta motions Woodward to the inside. Go! Back to pass. 4-man rush, a 1v2, and Woodward with a nice catch, a gain of 35. He must have saw something. He changed the route, had the man run something different, or perhaps it was the same route. To be honest, I was watching the underneath where Travolta usually likes to go in those instances. A 1v2, and Woodward coming down with that is pretty clutch, as Young unable to escape number 28, Patrick Young, the strong safety. Terrence Flowers now comes in, 2nd and 7 of the 28. They are just 8 yards. Okay. I don't know what accent that was supposed to be. 8 yards short. Sounded like a Pittsburgh and Boston accent just created some amalgamation. Travolta, 3-man rush, almost got to him. Flowers, 8-yard gain. That was a tad bit ridiculous. A 3-man rush, and the defensive end, Desmond Terry and or Shamar Sanders, was able to get through. I believe that was Sanders, just broke through the left guard, and the left tackle was like, hey man, that's not my problem. Travolta now a wide open touchdown dropped. Oh my gosh. Ryan Dean, their 2nd string tight end, dropping the easy touchdown. Unfortunate. You'll never get another look like that all game. Not against this Iowa defense. Travolta hands off to Flowers. They're going to run it up the middle, hoping for something. It's a gain of 1 yard. And now, Flowers has a leg injury and is not expected to return. So now, Randall Young will be the starting running back, followed by Tavian Harper, backed up by Josh Ventura. Oh my goodness. And now all hopes seem to have been dashed for this Austin Cinderella run, as he's going to throw, and Terrence Carroll with the touchdown. This crowd is... they're not happy about it. These are the few Austin fans that are still cheering, but... my goodness, are they not happy about this. Altamirano. Kick is up. Kick is good. And, man, they lose their starting running back, so now they go to pass concepts, and the very first pass concept they go to is an automatic touchdown to Terrence Carroll, their number 1 weapon that they refuse to use. Altamirano with the kick deep. It'll definitely be interesting to see how this game unfolds. Second half, you're down 20-0. Unless we start pulling a Lions and a 49ers, I really don't see a way that Iowa comes back from this game. And unfortunately, it's nothing that the defense has done either. It's not like Austin has gone down, scored 2 touchdowns, and then kicked 2 field goals. No. It's a fumble strip sack touchdown, or a strip sack touchdown, apologies, followed by a interception with a field goal. Then a drive down for a field goal. Then a long drive, loses their starting running back, and scores a touchdown anyways. So it's just, yeah. 2 turnovers really turned all this momentum up on its head, as Hull now throws to Rogers, and Rogers trying everything he can. He's unable to. It's now 3rd and 4. You gotta feel bad for this Iowa offense. Well, not the offense, the defense. I mean, Graham Hull is now 1 of 5 for 2 whole yards and an interception. And before that dump-off pass, he was 0 for 4. With his only completion being to the opposing team. Minus 1 yard now, it's TFL. Of course, that is Ellis. Mr. Jordan Ellis. He's probably going to be the defensive MVP, and honestly, since Flowers has now been injured, he's probably going to be the MVP for the game. There's Vincent now with the punt return. I mean, you look at it like this, the Iowa offense, right? You've got 2 superstars in Rogers and Briggs. You have an elite Daquan Fowler, talent. You have Tavares Blackstone, the star wide receiver, as Travolta. Oh my goodness, the old man is running. He's going to get a gain of 3 yards. Probably the most exercise that man has had in probably all 12 years of his career. And And you look at all that Iowa talent, and yet they just can't come up. They cannot come up with any points at all. As now Young, now there is a flag, possibly holding against the offense, gain of 9 yards. It'll be an offsides against the defense. And they will take a 1st and 10. I mean, I really don't know what to say. You've stacked your defense so well. They only let up 6 points all game outside of this last touchdown. And your offense gives the other team 10 points. Oh, man. It's insane. All right. Now Travolta motion to the inside. And he's immediately blown up. That's why you're a backup running back. As Abdullah now with the TFL, trying to atone for his swatted away interception. He didn't drop anything. He willingly didn't want that ball. As Young now off to the left, trying as he might, he's going to come up short. It's going to be 4th and 6, and Tavian Harper now probably wasn't even game day ready, to be honest, until the moment he got the notification that Flowers got hurt. And they will punt. So this could change a lot of things, as Belts will now punt that inside the 20, inside of the 10. Oh no, it's right. Well, it's in fact about an inch in front of the 10. Now we will take a look at this Iowa offense, see what they can do, if anything at all. As Hull now motion the man out to the right. Will they target Fowler? They will not. Rogers will get the ball. A free man. Fowler let up. Gain of 2 yards. And that's just not what you really want to see on a run design play. You get the wide receiver out to the right, pull him in, and then the guy to the right just blows past you. You don't like to see that. And they will run again for the 2nd straight time, and that'll be 3rd and 5. And a blitz on the left, and appropriately a run to the right, but it doesn't matter. There is Rogers now, 12 of 60. Reception and 2 yards on 3 targets. As Rogers now up the middle, gain first down. Exactly 5 yards, and now Romello Briggs will come in. And I believe that is Iowa's 3rd first down, I want to say, maybe. I don't know. I mean, that's how bad this game has been. I see they have 65 yards, but how many of those were just 5, 6, 7 yard gains and then incomplete pass, you know, like, you never really know. All right, Hull motions the running back out to the left, back to pass. Hull getting chased, gonna launch off the platform. Blackstone with a great reception, gain of 27 yards. Thought we were gonna see another strip sack fumble touchdown, but luckily for this Iowa fan base, there wasn't. And I apologize, last time they motioned the running back out. Number 52 for Austin. That is, of course, Dan Conte, their superstar linebacker, who was up there for Defensive Player of the Year statistically. Of course, he's the best Austin defender. As Cole now launching it. Quan Fowler finally gets his chance, and he drops it, hits the fingertips, unable to come down with it. It'll be a 3rd and 10 now. And this might be the 3rd straight passing play, unless they're crazy and they try to have Rogers run out to the right for some reason. So they motion Fowler out to the right, and they'll have him run to the left, and the left guard got beat immediately. And Austin now will call for a timeout. Of course, I forgot this is the 2-minute warning situation where the AI teams love to throw the ball for no reason. And Iowa is not a throwing team, by the way. I mean, you guys have seen the stats this whole game. Run, 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 run. Maybe have like 4 or 5 total passes, and all of a sudden, the 2-minute warning mark, they become an air raid team. And they're going to throw 2 passes a play or 3 passes, and you complete 1, you throw 3 more. You know, it's crazy. So we're going to see Austin do the same thing. And, of course, we do, as now Young is out to the right. Travolta back to pass. It's got all day. He's going to launch it to the 17,000 defenders over the middle, and not one of them came down with the ball. Iowa defense more prone, I would say, to stop yardage than they are to turn over. Travolta is now 5 for 12, 1 touchdown, 73 yards. He's going to motion Speakman to the right. He's going to launch it to Speakman. Speakman unable to come down with it. And, of course, we will now get a run on 3rd and 10. So this will now drain the clock less. And we will have to have Iowa call a timeout, as they are now desperate for any points. And they will motion Carroll out to the right. And, of course, they do hand off, and Young gets TFL'd. Loss of 6, of course. Iowa now calls for a timeout, of course. And we're going to be here for another 9 straight minutes. That'll be fun. The only part I don't like about these 2-minute warning situations, you get 2 offenses that can't really do too much, and they just get in a mudslinging contest. You take the ball. No, you take the ball. No, you take the ball. No, you take the ball. Or it'll be a situation where they're sitting there and they try to pass for eons, attempting to score 40 bajillion points in one play, not realizing that Iowa actually gets the ball in the second half, and that's intercepted by Vinson. So now the 3rd straight turnover by Iowa, as Austin has yet to turn the ball over. And, of course, this will now mean Iowa is going to try to pass the ball twice and then run the ball. So the turnover really wasn't worth much. It's a bit of a throwaway stat in all of this. Kind of sucks. Kind of wish we were able to, see a bit more of a usage of that turnover. But we won't. Austin has run the ball well, and I get that Flowers is injured, but you're sitting there, you're looking, and you're seeing what you can't do, and I think after the 4th pass attempt incomplete, I think you would just try to run it. But of course, this AI doesn't know how to do that, so they're going to pass to Speakman, and Speakman obviously triple covered, unable to come down with it. So now what they're going to do is they're going to now put Young in, and they're going to say, hey, we're at the 50-yard line, 49. Can you run 10 yards up the middle? Of course, Young will not, but in fact, they're going to surprise me. They're going to throw it, and in fact, Carroll's not going to catch because for some reason, the best wide receiver in the league cannot line up against the 2nd cornerback. I believe that was Sean Adams, who in no way, shape, or form... Whoa. Hold on a minute. Huh. If I'm reading this right, Justin Smith is the starting cornerback for Iowa. Yet he is worse than the 2nd and 3rd string cornerback. Okay. I hope my rosters are wrong. Let's go ahead and check that real quick. We're going to swing on over and see what that's about, because that should not be true at all. Offensive. Okay. False start. So we all knew that was happening. Justin Smith. No, for some reason. Huh. Alright, so the overalls are a bit waxed on the defensive end for some reason for Iowa. So these numbers are not right. Justin Smith is actually the best corner, and that'll be deflect. But again, more than likely I believe it was Sean Adams on the stop of the Terrence Carroll. And as I look at both these cornerbacks, I'm going to take a look at all 3. We're going to look at Shakir Robinson up to Smith. Yeah, no, absolutely no way that a 1v1 should have resulted in Carroll not getting the ball. I think in this sense, right, peel back the curtain, go a bit of 4th wall breaking, right? Terrence Carroll is a 95 overall. The closest that they have on defense in the secondary is an 84. And he has a 79-78 coverage, followed by the next best, 80-76, and then the 3rd worst, 73-71. So in no situation should this Austin offense be struggling against this secondary. But for some reason, we have a situation where Terrence Carroll lost a 1v1 battle versus a cornerback that has no right at all blocking him, keeping him down. As Speakman now with the reception. Austin will call their final timeout, saving us from the horrors of Iowa going 3 and out and having a timeout called for them. So now Austin past the 50 at the 38, potentially a field goal if Altamirano can kick it that far. 5-man rush goes all day. Carroll, and he's blocked by number 25. Okay, I can see 25 doing that. Let's check out who 25 is. If this stat is correct, he's an 85 overall. Okay, no, I don't believe that one bit. He's a 72 overall. Sheldon Parker, number 25, is a 72 overall with a 63 man coverage and a 62 zone coverage. So we're putting Randy Moss on a XFL cornerback number 1. And that cornerback is beating Randy Moss right now. I don't I don't understand that. And Altamirano will kick. And he will make it, so a 55-yard field goal is good. As Austin is now up 23-0. This will definitely be a moment that we come back to show the game dev Danny that in no world, I mean, I don't care about anything because let's get this right real quick while we wait for Iowa to waste our time doing a 2-minute drill for no reason. All right, so 63-62, that's his coverage, and we're going to go ahead and look at Terrence Carroll. He has a 91 catch, 91 route run, and a 92 speed with an 87 awareness. I don't... Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you give me those stats, right? And I get it, right? It's a game. But, a C plus... No, I don't even think he's a C plus. I think he's a straight C. Hold on. Let me go look at this. Because that's horrible. That's atrocious. He is a C. A C overall. Stopping an A plus overall player. That's just... That's not happening. That's literally ridiculous. I can accept, you've got, let's say like 72 overall Jonathan Spate, and he's bracketed with Sheldon Parker, 72 overall, right? All right, you got 2 bodies, right? How much can one man really do, right? Cool. What I don't understand is how one man, 72 overall, can possibly stop a Randy Moss equivalent. Or Trey Rice. I just don't. Okay, rant over. We're on to the third quarter. First half is completed. My 2-minute warning issues are done for. Altamirano now booting it deep. And Iowa now gets the ball. As Fowler now pushing forward. Gain of 10. Again, I don't think I would have had a problem with Iowa's 2-minute drill, but they got the ball, 3, maybe 4 times? You passed it 6 total times, 8 max, right? At what point does the AI look at themselves and go, hey, that's not working, let's run it. All right, Rogers up for a gain of 7. That is now 2nd and 3 in the halfback dive. He's now 17 for 73. Quite literally all of their offense, by the way, as Rogers now gets just bodied, loss of 4. Of course, is Nava. He is all over the place for Austin today, along with Ellis. It's 3rd and 7, as Hull now motions the man out to the right. Back to pass, blitz coming, caught by Nadeau. And that'll be a gain of 17 yards. And that is the starting tight end, Daniel Nadeau. Expecting him to be a backup tight end the way that this Iowa offense targets people. That'll be 1st 10. I think that is literally quite, honestly, Hull's only pass completion over 5 yards. Hull now hands up to Rogers. Rogers into a massive body. Gain of 3. Just a machine of bodies up there on the defensive line for Austin. 2nd and 7 now. Iowa looking to get any type of momentum. 4-man rush. They have a spy for some reason. Green, 3-yard gain. Now 3rd and 4. Now 3rd and 4, you kind of got to look at yourself and think, all right, maybe just go for an easy completion, right? You got all the, I mean, the entire defense is literally in front of your face. And of course, now Iowa screws that up a bit. Pull back, launching it into triple coverage. That was not ideal, and that was, of course, Daquan Fowler. I mean, 2nd and 3, you can't, you get one chunk play. Oh my goodness, the logic of this offensive team to just shoot themselves in the foot more and more. Escobar now punts. That'll be a 1st and 10 at the 20 for Austin. So Austin at this point should continue to run the ball, and they should continue to drain the clock as they are now up by 4 scores. And sure, maybe you can say 3 if you go for 2 points each time, but this is Iowa we're talking about, so that's not going to happen. Young with the reception, gain of 13 yards. Of course, you got to remember, as a self-note to myself, that Flowers is in fact out with a leg injury, so he's probably out for the playoffs unless he gets lucky and it's a 1-week situation, which even then, I mean, that's, you need him every week. Travolta launching over to Speakman, tripped up by Galbraith, number 55. 2nd and 7. So, I mean, I don't have a problem with this as long as you get the completions, right? As long as you can complete the pass and you're draining the clock, that's all that matters. Once you start throwing in completions, that's you've got a bit of an issue. Travolta now pitches out to the right. Oh my goodness, just all the greenery. Gain of 9 yards. If that was Flowers, might have been a touchdown. Blitz on the right side, and yet no one was there. 1st and 10 of the 45. Randall Young now 8 for 25, 2 for 21 on targets in the passing game. As Young now out to the right. Oh, just not fast enough. Gain of 3 yards. Take it down by number 56. And I'm not seeing that number. Oh, there it is. Lamar Gray, their superstar, 2nd string outside linebacker. Just having a bit of issue looking down at this depth chart. Haven't really needed to do it all game since no one apparently makes plays for this Iowa team today. Getting 2 yards at 3rd and 5. Randall Young now coming back in. Tavian Harper in on that play. And of course, for some reason, Iowa is scared of a deep pass. But of course, a false start by Ricardo Speakman, so that'll be 3rd and 10. I mean, your C overall free safety stopped the Randy Moss equivalent, so I wouldn't worry too much about it. 3rd and 10 now. This is a probable, obvious passing situation, but we see as Travolta now back to pass. Blitz coming up the middle, hit as he throws. Young unable to come down with it. 4th and 10, so this will be a punt. It's a bit unfortunate, but good for Austin, or good for Iowa, unfortunate for Austin. Of course, unfortunate for the clock situation. As that punt will easily sail in. Justin Belt's kicking it a little bit too far. As we wrap up this first half of the 3rd quarter, get to witness this Iowa offense in full prime. Just they throw a check down to Rogers, who Rogers wisely pulls upfield to gain of 14 yards. Not a lot of things you see from running backs these days who go out to the flat. A lot of them like to keep running out of bounds because they don't want to catch themselves, so they'll use all their momentum, fall forward, and you'll lose about 7 yards. This whole now rushing's number 17 to the left. 4-man rush. Defensive man got free. Rogers just losing all the yards he had. A gain of 9 turned into a gain of 4. So Romello Briggs now comes in. 2nd and 6. And that's inexcusable. You have a 9-yard gain. You just take the yardage, you know? You haven't been able to get anything all game. Your last drive ended in a punt. You're down by quite literally 4 scores, 3 minimum if you knock out every 2-point conversion. It's rough. 3rd and 9. It's got to be an obvious passing situation. Though, it is Iowa, so I suppose we'll be pleasantly shocked. And of course, we are not shocked as Rogers just bursting through all the defenders. Gain of 4. 4th and 5. Romello Briggs now back in. That'll be a punt. So unfortunately for Iowa, the miscues of their starting running back forces them to punt. Escobar now punts the ball right inside the 10. And a little bit too much heat on that one. So they were unable to pin it inside the 5. So now Austin takes over with 3 minutes and 50 seconds. They'll probably take up 3.5 minutes if they can just complete a normal drive, even if it goes for a field goal. Travolta back to pass. Up 4 scores, and you want more. Launching it to number 80, incomplete. Holding against the defense, 1st and 10. Michael Blackman replacing their starting tight end who is on the injured reserve list. So Michael Travolta now 8 for 23, 108 yards. Exactly the stat line you want to see from a starting quarterback. And of course, all that yardage and free first downs they got is revoked by a offsides, I should say, false start. More like it. 1st and 15, so now they're back to the 20-yard line. Now they have to gain 5 more extra yards. So in the end, Iowa wins this drive. As Young now, TFL'd, loss of 2. And, unfortunately, Shamar Sanders with a back injury, not expected return. So now Desmond Terry will take over the defensive 1 position. And Andre Knowles taking defensive end 2 positions. So Andre Knowles back in action. Number 99, back to pass. Travolta double covered. The cornerback tried to get lucky on that pick, or apologies, that was Braylon Myers trying to get in on that action, followed by, I believe it was either Cameron Galbraith or Lamar Grant in the backfield of the running back. Young now at 3rd and 17, a gain of 1. So an unfortunate false start by the offense, and unfortunately for Iowa, a loss of their starting tight end. This will now mean that Austin must punt, and any of these 2 teams to go forward are going to have a rough time, as Parker now taken down. Stop at the 34-yard line. 2 minutes and 11 seconds remaining in this 3rd quarter, and I don't think Iowa's going to score any points whatsoever. As Rogers now gets the ball, pushing forward, still go and gain a 7. And if you think about it, Austin's only scored 13 points. This Iowa defense is probably going to go down as the most efficient defense outside of Austin. I don't foresee anyone else only scoring 10 as Hull taken down, swallowed up with multiple players wide open. Of course, that's Dan Conte on the sack. And I just think it was a battle of the defenses today. I think obviously the offense for Austin showed up a little bit, and they did their part. They put up 10 points to start the game. So Rogers almost TFL, gain of 1 yard after that one. And we're back to 4th and 10 for Iowa. I think this punter saw a lot more action than he thought he would. Of course, this Iowa defense not getting any stops, now losing their number 1 defensive end. It's definitely going to be a rough game the rest of the way, as Vincent now taken down right ahead of the 20-yard line. Austin, of course, will be the first team to have beaten and shut out Iowa, I believe. I don't think Iowa's had a single shutout this year. It's Randall Young now taken down, and we're going to go ahead and double check that. That fact check, as it would be, as we go ahead and look over at the scores. If I can find it, and look at Iowa seemingly unscored every single game. Travolta is now back to pass, launching it to the right, deflected by an Iowa defender. And as we scan through, Iowa has actually scored up to 45 points before. Their lowest amount in the regular season is 15 points when they faced Orlando, losing 17 to 15. So Austin is the first team to shut out Iowa, and now hold the record for keeping them in the lowest amount. And it's kind of crazy that Iowa went from this 33, 45-point offense to now I mean, it looks like they're back to Season 2 form, right? An incredible offense, or an incredible defense that just can't be helped and can't be bailed out by the offense. You can have all the talent you want on this defense, but if you give Austin 12 drives, I mean, it doesn't matter.
Go!
As Hull now back to pass. Hull has all day. I don't know what type of throwing motion that was, but Taquan Fowler comes down with it anyways. It looked like he was throwing left. Ball came out, went far right. That'll be 1st and 10 at the start of the 4th quarter. So the question now is, can Iowa come back 23-0 in 10 minutes? The answer? Probably no. So Hull now motions the man out to the far left. That'll be Fowler.
Hike.
This will be a play action as Hull now off his back foot. Oh my goodness, and the 5 defenders. Should have been an interception. And they live to see another day. Graham Hull now 7 for 20, 105 yards, and 2 interceptions. Hull now throwing, unable to come down with it. That's Rogers. Lots of pass concepts all over the place. Probably have a split safety over the top left. And instead, they go with a dump-off pass that gets them nothing.
Go!
Hull back to pass. He's got all day launching it to Fowler, and Fowler finally scores for Iowa. That's a touchdown. 1st and goal would be the situation should they go for their 2-point, but they go for the extra point, so no 1st and goal scenario for them. So the PAT is now good, and Iowa avoids the shutout, but they are still 8 points shy of not being the worst offense for this team all year. As the punt goes, Carroll now with the return. Oh my goodness, just a massive pile of bodies taking down Carroll, shy of the 25. And now Austin with a chance to do something here. They've put up 13 points so far. Not too bad. They'd still be winning by 6 points if all else failed. No gain there. As Abdullah with the TFL. If Abdullah had gotten that pick 6, I definitely think this would have been not only a different game, but Abdullah would have been having a better game overall. The TFLs are nice, but having, oh my goodness, a pick 6, I don't know what type of tackle that was. Gain of 8 yards, though. Would have been very handy right now, as getting 14 points to 23 would have been a lot better. And in fact, could have been 14 to 16 by the way that Austin was going. Travolta now motions the man out to the right. He's going to hand off to Young, who's got a pile of bodies and is taken down. No gain. 4th and 3. Adams, number 21, with the TFL. Their 2nd string cornerback. And now, the punt will go. And Iowa will attempt to score another touchdown. It will be very interesting to see this result as Parker now taken down at the 25. Exactly at the 25, my goodness. And Austin's defense is hoping to keep as much pressure as they can. Iowa loves to run the ball, so expect a heavy blitz in the first one. They don't. Impressive for both teams, to be honest. And that's number 81, Aaron Hernandez Jr. That's all right. Quite the choice there for a name. I have to say that's my first time ever seeing that. I don't need to speak on why that's a choice, as Rogers pushing forward for only a yard, so this drive could wind up going absolutely nowhere. 3rd and 9. A little over 8 minutes remaining. They should have enough time. They did score in a minute in the last drive. They hand up to Rogers, and Rogers, oh my goodness. Wow. That gain of 12 yards, and what should have been a drive ender turns into an extension of the drive. Rogers pushing forward, dodging all the bodies, about to eclipse 100 yards. And Hull now in the backfield with Rogers and the fullback, back to pass. 4-man rush, going to dump it off to the fullback. He is too slow to receive that one. 2nd and 10. Gotta say, not exactly the most compelling situation if you're throwing to your fullback on a must-get drive. I don't really know too much about that. Massive pressure coming for the quarterback. Oh, unable to come down with it is Blackstone. It's now 3rd and 10. Well, if I could learn how to count, and I do, it's 6. Thought it was 5. 6-man blitz overcame, but wide receivers weren't spread out enough, as Rodgers now attempting for another first down. Stiff arms the man, gets taken down, gain of 9. And at this point, you got to think it's 4th down territory. You got to go for it. And if they punt, the game's over. I'm just going to say that right now. Okay, the game is over. I'm sorry. I don't understand that at all. You've got 7 minutes left. You're down by 16 points. You need to score 2 touchdowns. You've gotten lucky on a stop, and you've let up 23 points. I don't know what else to say. Travolta blitz coming, doesn't matter. Jordan with the reception, gain of 6 yards. See, now Austin's getting their fullback involved, and their fullback's actually catching it. That's when you know things aren't going your way. You know, obviously not to mention the strip sack to start the first possession, followed by an interception, followed by another field goal, followed by a touchdown, followed by a field goal. It's Travolta now strip sacked. Brandon with the recovery. Loss at 7. That could have been a very good recovery for Iowa, but instead the offensive lineman will recover that one. Would have definitely been an interesting game had they recovered that for a touchdown, but unfortunately, Travolta motioned them inside. Young trying his best, unable, gain of 1. 4th and 9. 6 minutes remaining by the time this punt even gets taken out. And I just don't see it. I don't foresee 16 points. I don't think Iowa's gonna go for 2 points. I think if they do score a touchdown, they're gonna go for the 1. And they'll be down by 11, in which case they'll try for a field goal, because they're going to probably stall out if they were to score here, stall out in their next drive, and then they're going to try for a touchdown and a 2-point conversion there. So, I don't know, we'll see. It's the safe play, but with how your offense has been playing, I don't really know if you want to go with safe, as Rodgers gained 7. And rushing the ball is quite the choice when you kind of need every minute you can get. That's Hull now. Rodgers going to motion the man out to the left. That's Blackstone. He's going to push him out to the left. Their star wide receivers are all set to the left. Hull surveying, launching. Fowler with a great catch. Gain of 26, and that's the type of throws that you need to see from your quarterback more often. Threading the needle between a high safety, a low safety, and a trailing cornerback. Right where Fowler only can get it. Afraid we won't be able to see that the rest of the playoffs. As Hull now motions the man inside, pushes out to the left of Rodgers. Rodgers has a full head of steam, gain of 8 yards. And they are almost down to a 1.5 minutes lost of time. Not exactly what you want to see for a desperately driving team. As Hull now under center. Motions 82 to the left, out to Rodgers. Rodgers for the first down and then some, a gain of 11 yards. 1st and 10 at the 17, so now you're going to have less than 4 minutes to go when this drive is done. And Iowa's going to have to go for 2. If they have any hopes of tying the game, they're going to have to go for 2.
Go!
This Hull now pitched out to Rodgers. Rodgers evading, pushing. Oh, I should have gone to the right. Gain of 4 yards. It's now 2nd and 6. Romello Briggs now coming in. And now going to be 3 minutes and 30 seconds left when all things are said and done here. Hull motions a man out to the right. That's Fowler. Hull wasting more time. Briggs right up the middle. Gain of 7 yards. 1st and goal. And now you're going to have less than 3 minutes by the time all is said and done. I would definitely be in a hurry-up motion type of situation. Shouldn't be allowing your team to burn almost 3 minutes of clock within 6 minutes of the game. Hull I don't know what's going on here. He's just going to get trucked, a loss of 7. And there is a face mask. So now they will get all the way up to the 7 after losing 7. I don't know how they got a face mask. He lowered his shoulder and boomed him, but I suppose we'll see what goes on here. As Hull now, empty backfield, looking, throwing into an Austin defender. My goodness, 2nd and goal. Don't know exactly what was going on there, but I mean, the defender was waiting for it. If only he didn't have bricks for hands, he would have caught it. 2nd and goal. Hull now under center. He's going to motion Fowler out to the left. Back to pass. 4-man rush. A blitz coming. Gets it off in time. Rogers. Oh, he's not able. 4 yards gain. 3rd and goal now at the 3-yard line. This has got to be 4th down territory. You're now about to hit the 2-minute warning. This has got to be awful clock management by this Iowa team. 4-man rush. Back to pass. Launches it right into number 27. And who is that? Samuel Sharp, not only committing the face mask, but dropping the easy interception. Here we go. This is for the game. Hull, Rogers, 82, Nadeau motioned out. Back to pass. Hull, he's going to launch it to Nadeau, gain of 2, and now Austin's at the 1-yard line. So that will more than likely do it for us. Iowa does have 3 timeouts, but unless they get a strip sack recovery, it's not exactly going to do them any good. As Young, I mean, he's got all day and then some. My goodness, 2nd and 8 at the 4. Iowa's going to let this clock roll all the way down. Unfortunate. See, you can't be letting your team burn damn near 4 minutes of clock if you want to win a game. As Young now taken down at the line, 3rd and 8. Iowa most likely going to call a timeout here for some reason. I don't know why you would, but I can almost guarantee it. They're probably not going to let the 2-minute warning hit. Shocker, they will. Young, handoff. Austin, for some reason, 2-minute warning is there. I mean, if I'm Austin, like, you got to let the 2-minute warning hit. You're going to get the clock is going to stop either way. So now you let Iowa get 4 times to stop the clock with the 2-minute warning and their 3 timeouts. So now they get the ball, but okay. Okay, well, after 25, dropped that and lost about 9 yards. Comes all the way back. Massive loss of yardage there. 1st and 10 at the 47, so now Iowa has to drive down the field without using any timeouts, score, convert 2, kick the ball, stop Austin with all their timeouts, and then drive down the field with no timeouts. Okay, well, that was interesting. Who was that? I don't know who that was. I think that was Jordan Vinson, who nearly had that game-sealing interception. Hold back to pass, launch in a triple coverage. And of course, Fowler unable to come down with it. 3rd and 10. And this might do it here. Graham Hull now 11 of 32. He's, oh my goodness. It's not even 33%. Well, he's a little bit over, but he's about to be 33% and under. I don't foresee him completing a pass here. Oh my gosh, he does. Fowler with an incredible 13-yard gain here. Iowa wasting a timeout, obviously. I just ran up and spiked it, but, you know, that's me, I guess. I don't know. Smart decision, I guess. I don't know. We don't do that here. This is Iowa football. We go 2 yards and a kick of dust and hope for the best, and that's should have been intercepted. 2nd and 10 now. By the looks of everything here, Iowa will probably finish with at least 10 points. So they will still be shy. Hull launching it deep, and Fowler double covered, unable to come down with it. 3rd and 10 now at the 40. Of course, this will be 4 downs, so never mind. They're not going to score a field goal because they can't. They quite literally have to score a touchdown and convert. So we're going to see quadruple coverage, batted down, 4th down. They're going to go for another long shot down the middle. And that'll be a drop pass, I believe, and that'll be the end of the game. Austin will just kneel the game down. Well, Iowa has 2 timeouts, so I don't. They're not going to be able to do that. But hold back to pass and launch it to the right. And that was to number 18. Oh my gosh, you can't make this stuff up. The 5th string wide receiver, Richard Bailey, with the game on the line, is thrown to. This is as bad as the Indianapolis Colts throwing to the 2nd string running back. Young with a lane to the left, gain of 5. Iowa ridiculously calls a timeout. So Austin will move on. Iowa will be eliminated. Austin is the 5th seed. So Austin now will face, potentially they will face Columbus. If San Antonio wins, they will face Portland. And if San Antonio loses, then Albuquerque faces Columbus and Austin faces Portland. So Randall Young rushes for 20. Again, this game has been done before the results, and any other game has been recorded. We are all recording about around the same time. Gain of 8 yards here, 1st and 10. So nothing really to unfold. Nobody wants, we don't want anyone to know any results for ourselves because these are the playoffs, right? So each of us will obviously watch our own game, obviously, because we enjoy the game. But as far as we know right now, Austin, from my point of view, is the only team to move on. They have a chance to meet with Columbus if San Antonio wins. If San Antonio loses and Albuquerque wins, they will then face Portland. That'll be it. Austin 23 to Iowa 7 points. Not exactly the greatest game for Iowa. Young taking over for Flowers, 21 for 45. Ellis, the MVP for the Austin Stars, 1 defensive touchdown, TFL, 5 tackles, and of course a fumble recovery. Head over to the stats, and that's about on average how you'd expect them with the recent play. Game stats: Rogers, the running back, 136 yards and 29 rushes. Galbraith, 3 TFLs, 6 tackles, 2 pass deflections as linebacker. Of course, Flowers on just 12 attempts had 52 yards. A tad bit ridiculous, if I'm being honest, and kind of depressing that now Austin goes without their star running back. Both had about even plays, rush plays, pass plays. Total yards was more towards Iowa. Rush yards, obviously Iowa. Pass yards, Iowa. Both were tied in sacks, but unfortunately the turnover battle was won cleanly by Austin. 0-3. Travolta ending with a 65 passer rating. Randall Young. You can see the receivers here. Go ahead and on the defensive side, look at Marquise Casey being the leader in tackles. Dan Conte getting 2 with Hawkins getting 1. 2 interceptions apiece, Samuel Sharp and Jordan Vincent. TFL leader, TDs, obviously Ellis. Jordan Vincent with the lead in DPs, Dan Conte and Jordan Ellis. Look at the returns over here. 2 whole kick returns, both, by the way, off of the first half and the lone touchdown. 11 punts. Not exactly what you want to see if you're a punter. That's not a great day in the office. Graham Hall performing even worse with a 36 rating, rushing for 29 attempts. Darius Rogers with 4 receptions, the highest, tied highest with Fowler. Sharif Abdullah seemingly could have had a breakout game, but just dropped some important passes. Shamar Sanders, Maddox, and now Knowles tied for interceptions. TFLs led by Galbraith. Defected passes, also Abdullah. Forced fumbles, Knowles, but no recovery, unfortunately. Of course, returns, 7. Kick returns with 6. That's ridiculous. Field goals, none for Dvorak, but he did make extra points. There's 10 punts by Escobar, so Austin actually out-punted Iowa, but Iowa, with the punt god, 4 inside the 20, but 4 touchbacks, so, take what you can get. Well, that'll do it here, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all for watching. We will see you all next week in the divisional round. Hope to see you all next week. Later.